Hyacine is a remembrance sustainer that buffs HP scaling characters and does a substantial amount of damage. In this video, I'll go over how to build her to maximize her potential. Starting off with her kit, her skill summons Ica if he currently isn't already on the field and does a decent amount of healing to all allies. Her ultimate will also summon Ica if he isn't on the field and gives her 3 stacks. These 3 stacks will trigger Ica's skill every time Hyacine takes an action. For her talent, it increases Little Ica's damage by 80% up to 3 times every time either Hyacine or Little Ica heals. Onto Ica's kit, Ica's skill does damage based on 20% of the healing from Hyacine and himself done in his current life cycle, meaning that if Ica dies, the tally of the healing that has been done will be reset upon his next summoning. Once he uses his skill, the tally will be half. For his talent, he does a small amount of healing at the cost of his own HP when other allies take damage. For his talent, he regenerates 15 energy for Hyacine if he's getting summoned, and if it's his first time being summoned, he regenerates 30 ultimate energy for Hyacine. His other talent advances Hyacine's action by 30% when he disappears. Now, onto their traces. Their first trace increases their crit rate by 100% and increases outgoing healing by 25% when healing an ally that is below 50% of their max HP. Their other trace increases Hyacine's effect resistance by 50% and allows for her AoE healing skill to dispel 1 debuff. The last trace is a bit of a meme since it increases their max HP by 20%, but it also increases their outgoing healing by 1% for every speed point above 200, which is pretty decent, right, in the Divergent universe and Simulated universe, but it's practically unreachable in any other game mode that actually counts. Regardless, you're gonna want to prioritize leveling up her ultimate, then Ica's talent, then her skill, then her talent, and then Ica's talent. For her major traces, you should prioritize unlocking the Gloomy Grin trace, then the Stormy Caress trace, and then Tempestuous Halt. In conclusion, Hyacine's kit demands speed so that she can heal more, and she demands more healing so that Little Ica can do more damage. She also has an AoE cleanse, which is massive, and she provides AoE healing rather than single target healing, which can be insane for Castoris, but a bit mediocre for Medei. For her Lightcones, obviously her signature Lightcone is the best since it increases her speed and Ica's damage, but most importantly, it takes HP away from other allies, which is insane for HP scaling characters like Blade, who wants his HP to be taken so that he can get more follow-up attack stats, and then Medei so that he can get more stacks for his enhanced skill. And it's generally just a pretty good mechanic to have on a Remembrance Lightcone because it means you can also run it on another Remembrance character like Remembrance Trailblazer. A good 5-star alternative for her would be the free-to-play 5-star Lightcone in the Herda shop since it also buffs her speed and provides allies with damage dealt. As of right now, we don't have any other Remembrance Lightcones that buff her in any significant way more than the others, so if you can afford the time, the effort, or the money for these Lightcones, then any other Remembrance Lightcone will do the job just as well. For her relics, the new Warrior of Sun and Thunder set is her best set since it increases her speed by 12% and gives allies a decent crit damage boost. If you're looking for alternatives, then having any combination of the available sets that give you 6% for having 2 pieces would also work. For her planner set, you're gonna want the Giant Tree of Wrapped set because it increases her speed and outgoing healing. For their main stats, you're gonna want outgoing healing for her chest, speed for her boots, HP percentage for her spear, and energy recharge for her rope. For her teams, she works really well as a universal sustainer that can be put on any team in need of a good sustainer, but she synergizes a lot more with HP scaling characters such as Castoris, Medei, even if Gallagher is arguably better for him since Gallagher has single target healing. She's also good for Blade, and this one is a bit of a spoiler since it's been leaked rather than officially stated, so if you're not into leaks and if you don't want to be spoiled on anything, then click away for like 10 seconds. But Jingliu is also really good since she's also going to be an HP scaling character. I also want to emphasize how good of a support Hyacine is with Castoris. In specific, Hyacine is able to synergize with Castoris so well that she's arguably as good as Tribi on a Castoris team since she's an insane battery for Castoris' ultimate and is able to increase her damage by increasing her max HP. Okay, so the way you're gonna want to use Hyacine with Castoris specifically, even though it doesn't really change from Castoris to Blade to Medei. With Castoris, you're gonna wanna spam her skills so that she can constantly heal, so that Castoris can constantly get her energy recharge up for her ultimate. So like right here, obviously I'm gonna need a heal. I'm at 1 HP, but I'm also gonna want to heal because Castoris wants her ultimate, right? So right here I'm gonna summon Mem. Gonna use Castoris' ultimate, and then instead of waiting, using her Fire Breath, using it one more time, and then basic attacking, I'm just going to explode it right away. Because Hyacine's healing is just so effective at getting Castoris' ultimate up, you don't have to withhold the explosion. You can just constantly be exploding the dragon to maximize her DPS. Even though Castoris doesn't even use skill points, Hyacine constantly taking up the skill points is very gluttonous of her, but that's fine, that's fine. I would like to showcase Little Ica's full potential. So I'll just do that right after I showcase his next attack, because it should do a good amount of damage right here. So Little Mem's gonna attack again after I used my ultimate. What? Alright. Every turn one of her stacks leaves, and then every single time she attacks or uses her skill or her ultimate, Little Ica does his attack. So the damage is dependent on how much you field. Right here, 130k, meaning that I field like 5 times that throughout the battle. That's really good for a sustainer. Even just independent of that fact, I mean, that's still pretty good sub DPS damage. But I do want to test out a hyper carry build, although it's not really that reliable. I'd say it's more so reliable in like simulated universe or in a divergent universe environment. I mean, it'd still be pretty cool to see a big damage. Okay, so for a DPS Hyacine build, you don't really have to change anything. All you have to do is prioritize healing with Hyacine and make sure that Little Ica doesn't die, because the amount of healing that you do throughout the battle isn't gonna tally up the second Little Ica dies. The second Little Ica dies, all of that healing is just gonna be reset and all of your progress is gonna be cooked. So right here, you also don't want to use the ultimate, because the ultimate makes Little Ica advance forward. And obviously, you also don't want to use the ultimate, because the ultimate is what gives Little Ica the attacks, and if he attacks prematurely, it's gonna take up 50% of the tally, and you're gonna end up doing 50% less of the damage. You also don't want to use the ultimate, because if you do use the ultimate, it is gonna give you a bit more healing, but Little Ica is then going to attack, and if he attacks, I'm sure he's gonna do a good chunk of damage, but he isn't gonna do as much as he could, and it's just gonna reset the tally of healing back down to 50% of the healing that it was originally at. So in a hyper carry Hyacine team, you're just gonna wanna be able to sustain your team as much as possible. Try to have Little Ica not die, because if he dies, it resets the tally. You're just gonna wanna do as much healing as possible. This is fine. Okay, now as you can see, even though I already healed with Hyacine, my characters are still at pretty low HP, which is fine. I can just heal again. And in a regular team comp where you're not running Hyacine as a hyper carry, that'd be fine. You can just use her ult right then and there. But if you are gonna use Hyacine with Medei, Hyacine is still better than single target healers like Gallagher or Luosha, and especially like preservation sustainers, right? Since they just don't heal. But Medei is going to do a considerably low amount of damage, or not damage, but more so just DPS, since he isn't going to be attacking as much as he usually could be, because the amount of healing that Hyacine does isn't really that good. It's good as an AoE, but again, it isn't single target healing. So it's not really going to help with Medei, considering that he usually has 10 to 12,000 HP. But I would still say Hyacine is a good investment if you do want to use her with Medei. But anyways, I think I've done enough healing. I could be wrong, but I mean, I spent a lot of time here, and Pollux is still at 95%. So clearly, I'm at like, yeah, this is my 3rd cycle. Clearly, this team isn't viable. Again, this is really more so just a fun little experiment. That'd be a lot more fun in Divergent Universe or simulated, but let's see. I think she has. Right, she has Ruan Mei, both Ruan Mei buffs, RMC buff, Sunday's ultimate. Then here I'm gonna do a big chunk of healing, a big burst of healing. And then let's see, is Little Ica viable as a hyper carry DPS? Oh, such a cool animation. Whoa. Okay, wow. That was a bit unexpected. I didn't think it was gonna do that much damage, but obviously it's like, I mean, Polix is still at 66. He still has another health bar. We've only got like 7 more turns. Well, honestly, like 2 more turns or 2 more rotations or cycles before this team just isn't viable, at least to 36 star MLC. But I mean, that really was cool for a sustainer. And then 500k, like, I mean, that is pretty impressive. Let's see, I kind of want to do it again. But I mean, even there, y'all could see it did 700k and then it did 500k, and then here it's gonna do what, like 300, maybe 400. Yeah, around there. Whoa, wait, I was kind of doom posting a little bit, since I forgot. Yeah, 700k, that was a good burst of damage, but like, she still got a lot of healing there. Little Ica still has a bunch of ammunition. Okay, now it's getting a bit stale. And then here I can't even heal, so yeah, now 87k. I could be wrong. Hyacine's healing, when it comes to Castoris, it doesn't matter if you're at max HP. You could still charge up Castoris' ultimate by healing, right? By over healing. But for Little Ica, I'm pretty sure it doesn't work like that. I'm pretty sure you actually have to heal. Ooh, I could be wrong though. I could be wrong. Let's see, maybe it does count. I mean, 18k. What? Oh, right, resistance. Okay, makes sense. Oh, like, dude, Hyacine is so fun. Like, I just love this type of gameplay. Oh, damn. Like, cause like typically this to your average player would be like a death sign, but this is a big no-no. But for Hyacine hyper carry mains, all that means is just a substantial amount of damage, right? Like, look at all this charge I'm getting. Oh my god. Okay, I'm already at my 24th cycle. But yeah, I think I'm gonna use her ultimate now. So now I'm just gonna use all my buffs, and then I'm just gonna skill with her, and then ultimate to do a big burst of healing. And then again, this should do what, 500k? Ooh, that's insane. For a sustainer, not even like, bro, she's out DPSing. Like, this isn't even that bad. Like, yeah, I'm not 36 starring MOC, but this is still like really good. I don't have Tribby either, but if I had Tribby instead of Ruan Mei, I mean, these numbers could definitely be higher. So yeah, now in conclusion, Hyacine DPS hyper carry is actually pretty insane. Let's see, what would this do? 70%, okay. Oh, I should have healed there for the ultimate. That's fine. You know what, I'm gonna do this. Mem, right? I still have Sunday. I don't have Ruan Mei's ultimate, but that's fine. How much? Insane. Well, in 7 cycles, DPS sustainer in 7 cycles. That's insane. Now, to be fair, I was fighting Polix, so that is a bit of a inflation in the cycle amount, but I mean, yeah, no, that is insane for a sustainer. In conclusion, Hyacine is a top meta universal sustainer that synergizes extremely well with HP scaling characters and does an insane amount of damage relative to other sustainers and even old DPS. When it comes to whether you should pull for her or not, I would personally recommend to pull on her if you don't already have 2 extremely good sustainers already, since even if you're only missing one of the 2 sustainers that you should want, again, there's been leaks about another possible sustainer being released in 5.6, I think, who could potentially be as good, if not better than Hyacine at sustaining your team, though this character was leaked to be a preservation unit. So if you really are in need of a healer in specific, well then yeah, she's pretty good. She does an amazing job at sustaining, but with the Fate collab, Feinen, and again another leaked sustainer right around the corner, I would only summon if you have HP scaling characters, or if you want to use HP scaling characters reliably, and if you have enough savings for upcoming units. Not to mention that it seems like the HP scaling meta will only last for the remaining of Amphorius, since there's a massive chance it'll just get power crept by the devs. So if you really like Hyacine, independent of her meta capabilities, well then yeah, I'd say summon. She's a pretty fun character. She's a pretty good healer. She does good at what she's meant to do. So if you really like Hyacine, yeah, sure, summon.